I'm Jeanette Lenoir with ePluribusAmerica, and you are joined here on EPA Live. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm very excited to be here today because it's all about the wacky tobacco, or the devil's lettuce, or ganja, or pot, or dope, or whatever you want to call it. This little green leaf has been, has really been in a green rush. And by that, I mean the cannabis industry is growing exponentially, especially here in the DMV area. And so I'm really, really excited to have a pioneering figure in the cannabis industry, Jay Mills, to join us and talk about the industry, what they're facing, and what she's doing as a cannabis operator and educator in the field, and how she encourages. So, Jay Mills, thank you so much for joining me on ePay Live.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited to have you too. Okay, I wanted to let folks know a little background about Jay Mills. Jamila Hogan, she goes by Jay Mills. She is the founder of Ebony Green Society. She is a cannabis content creator, author, performing artist, community organizer, and an educator. She's also the host of Past the J podcast. Jay is a cannabis pioneer, as I said earlier, because she's the first Black woman to manage a cultivation center on the East Coast, which is such a huge deal because you have to have a license to have that, right?
Well, I if I own the cultivation.
You own the cult. Okay, but to cultivate, don't you have to have a license?
No, you actually don't, surprisingly.
Really? Oh, okay. So you became the first Black woman to manage a cultivation center.
Yes. And
How did that happen? Tell me about that.
it was really a blessing as I speak to students that how I stressed to them for being ready.
Oh no.
Oh, it
Okay.
was a call out of
Okay.
being ready and staying ready. I would expect for a person to start a called
Your audio is breaking up a little bit.
is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
I was at a convention that it was for ASA, Americans for Safe Access. And this is an
Hmm.
organization that is focused on people having safe access to the plant.
Hmm.
All of the persons who were interested, this is in 2013, who
Hmm.
were interested in getting a legal license in the medical industry were all there. I could count on my hands out of the thousands of people who attended how many were people of color.
Hmm.
Um, I had a conversation. I had my elevator pitch ready. At that point, I just knew I loved the plant. And if there were positions that were opening that would allow me to professionally work with this plant, I wanted it. Who knew that my legacy experience was exactly the experience that they needed for me to have the position that I did.
Yeah.
So the rest is history.
And where are you located?
I'm in DC.
You're in DC. So is your cultivation center,
The
or
cultivation center is in DC, but again, it wasn't mine. I was not the owner. I did not get the license for cultivation. But as you
Mhm.
pointed out, the people who do the gardening, who do the planting, who do the growing, who are caretaking for these plants, they don't have to have a license like a barber or a hairstylist or, you know, in farming, you have to have certain licensure to grow agricultural at this corporate level, but in
Yeah,
cannabis.
I see. Well, let's play a video to show folks, give folks a little idea of who you are and what you do. I mean, you look very modest, but there's a lot of power hiding behind your hijab. Not that
Thank you.
hijabs are powerful; they are, but I'm just saying there's more there.
What's up? What's up? It's your girl, J Mills, coming at you live and direct with another Cannabis PSA. That's right. If you didn't know, now you know. The DC plant count for the cultivation centers has been lifted to unlimited. However, they have not expanded the testing regulations to allow for patients to have safe access to medicine in the nation's capital. What am I talking about? I'm talking about what is your cannabis testing as? By not having this testing, what does this mean? What's the current standard of testing in DC? Well, it's TLC testing or thin line chromatography, and this has an error margin of 20%. It could be 10% more or 10% less than the number that is given. So let's say your cannabis tests at 15%. It could be 5% or it could be 25%. So if I'm a producer, I could say it's 25%, when in all reality, it might just be 5. And that is what is in the market right now. So when you see the cannabis that says it's 27%, 30%, 31%, 32% THC, you should question that.
So let's question that.
Yes.
That's really surprising. And why do you think it's important for people to know this?
I mean, cannabis education in general is important so that people can make informed decisions about how they're medicating. We don't go to alcohol and look for the highest alcohol percentage,
Mhm.
you know. But when it comes to cannabis, for whatever reason, people are choosing their consumer decisions based on this THC level. So without any type of check and balance in widespread. They have all of these different testing collusions that are coming out with these testing companies that are being paid extra to render results of a higher THC potency simply because they feel that sales and pricing can change based upon this number. Um, it's unfortunate, especially as it comes to perhaps something that is labeled as being CBD, high in CBD, when it actually isn't. They're lying on the ratio between the THC and CBD to, again, change the price tag on their plant.
Yeah.
Um, for patients, I just find it again a sign that we aren't really informed, because you would question if they're telling you that this 1 gram of medicine, that over a third of it is this THC. Like, you're telling me that a third of this plant, this gram that I'm holding, is nothing but oil. You should be
Yeah.
able to, it would look different.
Yeah.
The plants that really truly are testing up that high are very distinct.
Mhm.
And that medicine is indeed very powerful. But do you actually need that much medicine? Again, I go back to
Mhm.
alcohol. I don't have to drink Everclear to get drunk. You could get drunk off wine at very low alcohol percentages. Some people get drunk off beer.
Yeah.
Tequila, whiskey, rum, all of those are coming in at 40% alcohol. So it is not just intrinsically linked that simply because something is high, that it is also good.
Yeah.
That's the crux
Yeah.
of my education.
But they're allowed to manipulate the numbers legally.
Yes, I mean, and this really goes into all across the board. Like, for instance, with food, food has a very wide error margin that is okay. If and it makes sense. If I'm eating a chocolate chip cookie, they can't guarantee how many chocolate chips are in this cookie. So if it happens to have more chocolate chips than not, then the entire nutritional value changes. It has more sugar. It and something also the opposite. Maybe this one only got 2 chocolate chips in the cookie. So it doesn't have as much. What they are telling you and what they have to tell you and how accurate they have to be is not as accurate as we think. But you and I, I'm sure we remember when nutritional facts became a thing,
Yeah.
when they forced fast food restaurants to actually give you these nutritional facts. Before that, we were just eating and consuming, and we had
Yeah.
no idea how
Yeah.
many calories were in this supersized drink or were in this Big Mac.
Yeah.
And
But the same regulation is not applied in the cannabis industry. As a matter of fact, there seems to be wiggle room for being deceptive.
very
Uh,
much,
yeah.
especially in DC. As I said in that video, the type of testing that they are currently used, that testing standard, there are other tests that
Mhm.
would give you more information. Word to Maryland, where you actually do get to know the terpene profile of the flowers that you buy from a dispensary, and they can't tell you that in DC. And
Mhm.
without that terpene information, you don't
Yeah.
really know the medicine that you're consuming. Again, that's like going in a liquor store, and the best thing they can do is tell you that it's dark and it's 40%.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
but what
Yeah.
is it?
Right. And let's watch the rest of this video because you talk more about another type of testing.
Yes.
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl, J Mills, coming at you live and direct with another Cannabis PSA. Today, talking about phenotypes. I realized when I was in the dispensary yesterday, shout outs to National Holistic Dispensary, located at 1718 Connecticut Avenue, Northwest DC. Shopping there, and I noticed that you have Cherry Kim number 7, Cherry Kim number 10, Cherry Kim number 11. You got Copper Kim. You got District Cannabis with the Lemon Royale. They did it before with Savage Squeezins, presenting 4 different phenotypes. Now, I need to give information because I realize that a lot of customers don't understand what phenotypes mean and what's really happening. And because in DC, you don't know what terpenes are present in your medicine, you're kind of buying blind. And because you're buying blind, these producers are taking advantage of your ignorance, presenting you with these different things with the name that they know that you like, and they put a different number on there, which makes you think that there's something related. So let's talk about phenotypes. Well,
Phenotypes. What
Yeah.
are phenotypes?
Yes, phenotypes are beautiful with this plant. It is similar to, you have parents, right? I have parents. I also have siblings.
Hmm.
I am not my sister or my brother,
Hmm.
even though we have the same parents.
Yeah.
Even if I had a twin, we would still be completely different people. So a phenotype is a strain that comes from the same parent but is grown by seed. Now, if you were to cut a clone from a plant, then more
Hmm.
likely than not, you would have a very extremely similar plant to which what you cut it from. And I say extremely because, different growing types, different mediums. If you were to take me and I were to be the same person, but I grew up in Russia, I would be different. I might even be a different complexion. My hair, there will be differences simply because I grew up in a completely different climate than if I grew up in Kenya.
Hmm.
That being said, when you got a phenotype, you have to recognize that this is a completely different plant
Hmm.
from its parents and from its siblings.
I see. And that's important because of the way that these really all the different chemicals that are going into the marijuana plant because it's not as herbal as it used to be because of an attempt to make it more potent. And so they're constantly, uh, I think the term is geoengineering or they're engineering marijuana. And some of the issues that folks have talked about is them being laced with harsher drugs like even fentanyl. Can you talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that?
Once upon a time when they were ending prohibition, the United States government poisoned the alcohol, and it was said that you could die by drinking bootlegged liquor.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's related. I just find it interesting that in history they did that. Many people died, and there was this
Yeah.
whole story about bathtub gin and staying away
Yeah.
from it. And then later, in declassified information, it came out that the United States purposefully poisoned to drive people to the legal and controlled market. And now we see fentanyl being
Mm-hmm.
sprinkled on black market flowers.
Yeah. So you think
That's,
you think there might be some sort of conspiracy there
I
with
mean,
this whole thing?
would our government really purposefully poison people?
They're perfect. They're perfect. No, I'm joking.
Oh man, it's like thinking that, like they would actually
Yeah.
destroy a water system in Philadelphia or Flint, Michigan, Like,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
That's
Or,
preposterous.
yeah, or all these medical experiments, the Tuskegee Airmen experiment, and so the syphilis experiment. They've done plenty of experimenting on our behalf, but
I'm
with
just,
our pay. So you know,
you know,
and what it's funny because you also have a podcast. You have the Past the J podcast where
yeah,
you bring folks together and you talk about basically the business of cannabis, and you work to encourage people to join this industry. Why is that important? Talk to me a little bit about the podcast, but why is it important to galvanize and influence, especially Black, Indigenous people of color, to really take a shot at creating their own generational wealth by joining this industry?
yes, I'm heavy on the be the change you want to see and tell
Mm,
your story. The ancient gift that we have of storytelling in our own voices with our own mediums for the people to have an actual documentation of who we are and what we do, a statement of our intellectual property that exists
mhm,
for others to see. As it comes to people of color in cannabis content creating, a lot of us are being deleted, a lot of our platforms are being taken off, and it is an act of rebellion just to share your story, just to share your product, just to talk about it. So I'm happy to just have these experiences, these events, these shows, this programming that is constantly giving us a space to share our opinions, tell our stories, and
mhm.
promote ourselves.
Yeah. And speaking of promoting yourselves, can you give us a little bit information about the medical marijuana bill that's currently, kind of going through some its own legal challenges? So, can you give us an update on the Medical Cannabis Amendment Act?
Currently, the Medical Cannabis Amendment Act
Mhm.
is um, it's being pushed through to start on May 1st.
Okay.
Um, there are a lot of interesting things that are parts of this bill.
Mm,
Um, they made great marks to appear inclusive while also placating the rights and demands of the medical big market.
mhm,
We have a few businesses that are independently owned, but we have others that are very much owned and operated by large MSOs.
mhm,
Um, there are states that did it right, that are doing it right, that are making sure to preserve the legacy market and
mhm,
give them a true chance to transition into the legal side. Um, I think that they could have done better with allowing for that platform and that transition space. Um, what I think is going to happen based upon the legislation as it is written is that we're going to see something very similar to California, where the legacy market is going to have to pretty much cease and desist with its operations until their licenses are approved. Um, in New York and New Jersey, that was not always the case.
mhm,
With there being a period of amnesty, with there
mhm,
being a period given for you to receive a conditional license, versus what has been the case, such as with DC, where you have to acquire real estate and pay bills on this real estate while you wait years for your application to be approved. This is
mhm,
quite a barrier to entry for many people who can't afford to, number one, have bought this real estate, have it equipped up to the standard as if it were about to open, and then wait months or years before you can actually operate in this space. So we'll see how
yeah.
things go.
Yeah.
They are given priority of
Yeah.
certain applications to social equity applicants, while at the same time holding a large number of new license categories only for those who already possess a medical cannabis license. So
Mm.
it's performative largely, with many
Hmm.
illusory promises
Yeah.
that we don't know we don't know when they'll actually be delivered upon.
Yeah.
Whereas the opportunities that exist for those who do already have a license are going to allow them almost to operate without any competition for
Yeah.
a year or more or
Yeah.
two.
What about the new rule that designates 50% of certain licenses to be set aside for equity applicants and existing medical cannabis operators in perpetuity? Is that enough? It went from
Uh,
100 to 50%. But
I mean, 50% is nice, but again, why limit it to certain licenses? Why not all?
well,
Why not?
there's the medical marijuana is basically they have more leeway. They're winning in this green rush, and so that leaves gifting shops, I-71 shops behind because these medical marijuana shops are they have the backing of the federal government, and also
Mhm.
majority of them are run by by Caucasians, by white folks, and so the whole generational wealth issue is makes it even more important that uh, these I-71 shops and or gifting shops get to operate legally and fully, because they also have a mission attached to it, which is building generational wealth, putting some brakes on gentrification that's happening in the DC area. And so there's a real mission behind this marijuana movement.
Yeah, I encourage people to let their voices be known, to really take the time to read not just our bill, but other bills that are currently working. See other plans that have worked, plans that started and maybe didn't work, plans that is what you say that you want and they're already in motion so you can see. Well, what happened with Oklahoma when the application fee was $25 and there was no cap?
Hmm.
What happened in Detroit when it was $50 for social equity applicants? What's happening in Canada, in Toronto, where there's no cap and such? What's happening in Oregon, where
Yeah.
there was a huge social equity push, a lot of precedence given, and again, no cap. There are things that will change. You can't have your cake, I suppose, and eat it too. But without the licensure, we're kind of operating with no cap. I see pop up I-71 compliant places that are practically next to each other. There are certain streets where you have dozens of these shops and they're not operating in secret. They have their signs out openly. You know exactly what they are doing. Um, this is already happening, so it is a good step that they one lifted the cap. That
Mhm.
that to me was a no brainer. We never had a cap on liquor stores on the street.
Mhm.
I use the example often of coming up in a section of Benning Road where there were four liquor stores just right there in this block.
Yeah.
So we deserve the opportunity to have healing plant stores, to have access to
Mhm.
sorry, to have access to this medicine as
Yeah.
plentiful as we like. And this is America, indeed. I see gas stations across the street from each other. You got a McDonald's, a Wendy's, a KFC, and a Burger King
Yeah.
right there. This is America. If you are successful in the business, there will be many people who are just gonna hop on, and may the best man win.
It's interesting how you refer to it, and I know that you deliberately do that. You refer to marijuana as medicinal, and I've heard you say that in other conversations as well. Does that remove the stigma from it being marijuana? Because there's a little disrespect on weed's name. It always is
Yeah.
attached to something nefarious, something negative, in spite of all the the positive and medicinal benefits of this plant. I mean, they've used it in pediatric medicine. They've seen positivity and people effect, react positively. So, the medicinal benefits are clear, and yet it still has this stigma to it. Is that why you make a point to kind of address it as a healing medicine and not just weed?
Yes.
Mhm.
Always medicine. It's always medicine. And I use that word to address the huge disparity that is in my community as it comes to mental health
Mm,
and the disconnect that we have in understanding the effects that come with PTSD, with depression, with anxiety, and with the realities of growing up Black in America. We don't have the luxury of therapy. In many cases, we are self-medicating, we are self-diagnosing, and we are conducting self-therapy without even knowing it. So I think that the first step is to look at this as medicine, where I did use an analogy with alcohol and not knowing if you went into a liquor store and they just said, hey, this is white liquor at 40%, and you don't know if it's gin or vodka. But at the same time, alcohol can be medicine too. It is the largest ingredient in most of your cough syrups. If you need an antiseptic and you need to wipe a cut, that's alcohol. So even cocaine has
mm,
true medicinal uses. But as with anything, food is medicine. Food can heal you.
yeah,
But if you don't, it can also harm you. All of these things can harm you while they
yeah.
can also heal you. If you
Mhm.
abuse it, if you don't use it in moderation, if you are getting the wrong type, or you you can harm yourself. But that does not change the fact that it is medicine.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like how you mentioned the mental health aspect of it too, because I do hear a lot about people using it to treat so many, issues that they face, especially depression and mental health issues. One statistic that's somewhat troubling is that 98% of marijuana arrests are Black and brown people, but only 2% are owners in the cannabis industry. Are we being purposely left out of the industry? I mean, there's clear data showing the disparities. That's showing what's really happening on the ground, and
Hmm.
yet there's the legislation isn't really addressing the need of Black, Indigenous people of color who want to get involved in this business. So, what does the future of cannabis look like in DC and or the DMV area? What does it look like to you?
I think the future is very brown. It's very black, brown, and tan. It is a return of an industry to the minorities who are actually the majority of this
Mhm.
planet Earth.
Yeah.
Um, and it also will be the ultimate answer for us as the majority people who are
Mhm.
called minorities, to see what will we do for ourselves
Yeah.
if the bars are lifted and we are now free. What
Hmm.
will we choose to do?
Hmm.
Will we choose to be owners? Will we choose to pursue these opportunities? And if not, we have just ourselves to blame. Nature abhors a vacuum. A very wise man told me this many years ago, and I see and understand what he means. If we are not properly positioned to take advantage, to learn about the nuances of opening a business and just how much it can cost, then ignorance of the law is no excuse of the law. I do think that there's a lot of us that are getting the message, that are positioning ourselves properly, that are reading the fine print and knowing how to maneuver so that you're not caught up and written up for things that prior to this legislation were not illegal. Well, now you're unlicensed because these licenses exist. So we have a chance, we do, to really be a shining example for how this plant can transform and better an entire community, an entire city, an industry, an economy.
And you're really taking a lead in this, which is really great. Let's watch the rest of this video and go into what you do.
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl J Mills coming at you live direct with another episode of Pastor J Approved. Sitting here is me and my connoisseur crew with the CEO of Stribble's Treats. We're here with LaWan Stribbling, her amazing assortment of goods, and we're gonna take a moment to deep dive into her brand.
Another day in the struggle. Waking up and I'm feeling like fuck you, mad at this world that hates black girls and rapes black queens and kills black kings, and everybody else got justice, all except us. Mad at the RBG, red for my blood, black for my peeps, green for the grass underneath my feet. Mad cause they poison in the air I breathe, and the food I eat, and the fish and the sea, and the birds and the bees and the fruit and the meat and milk and the whole TVC I see mass insanity, and I'm battling for humanity. Dolphin, whales, and manatees, and young black minds with self-esteem. We fighting not to go extinct. I hear them screaming, I can't breathe. Drown our pain in drugs and drinks and disrespect our own black queen. See, I'm mad that you love my fat ass, but you don't love black. Hands up and you shoot us in the back. Old girl gets the knee to the neck, and a boy with a toy got shot to death. Yes sir, no sir, watch your step. Skittles in the tea can cost your breath, cost your life. Wrong is right, so we living in a world where wrong is right, cause we lost our sight and forgot our might. Why they so afraid of strong black pride? Why we let these teachers teach these lies? Why they put these chemtrails in our sky? See, I'm mad and I'm angry and I'm hurt, and see, I'm in pain, and I just don't understand how many times we gotta ask them to stop shooting us, man. What the fuck? It's obvious that they want us to die, so I'm mad, and yes, I'm angry, and yes, we hurt, and yes, we are in pain, and it's just so frustrating. It's like every day I found out about another murder and another murder. Man, hold up. Un momento, silencio, lo siento. Te amo, besos a mi gente, rumos a morena. Ahora the DR is bananas, it's muy loco. Yo no comprendo how my people can lose the focus. It's like colonialism did this magic. Focus. We fight amongst each other instead of the one who wrote this. If you're not a European speaking English, French, or Spanish, you know who did damage, who just took advantage, who fucked up the planet. We keep on pressing self-destruct like they give a fuck. Only thing they try to stop is when we moving up, but we turning up, we turning down anything that's good about black and brown, and it's black on black crime all around. How many gotta die before we make a sound? Cause we killing us and they killing us. My soul is tired, I had enough, and all my life I had it rough. Everybody I know got scrapes and cuts. Well, what you gonna do? My life was fucked up too, just like you. Die or choose to fight to prove the might of the truth in the eyes of our youth. Cause see, they are mad and they are angry and they so hurt and they are in pain, and we just got one question, man. Why do you keep shooting us? See, we are mad and we are angry.
We are mad and we are angry. I thought this song was so powerful, so poignant, so well delivered. You were in the back of an Uber. Tell us about that moment and how did this song come to life?
Man, I was on the phone with a friend of mine. Shout outs to my homegirl Nina Leon. Man, at that time she was living in Japan. Her husband was in the military, and I was just venting about life in the States and just all of the stress and just the food is killing us, and the police are killing us, and we are killing us, and they killing the animals. It's just, and she was like, you know what? You need to write this down. You need to just take all of this anger, because it's just, and put it on the paper.
Yeah, and that's what you did. Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. It came so easily. It's just literally how I feel. Another day in the struggle.
Yeah, and, and it matters today. I hope it can reach more ears and that it goes a little further. And let's talk a little bit about Ebony Green. You are also the founder of Ebony Green, which is so exciting. Tell us a little bit about it.
So I was looking to understand crypto. It,
Hmm.
I'm the type of person, I'm just like a geek for things. I gotta know why. And in this case, to truly understand crypto, it led to me creating my own cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
Green.
Mhm.
Um, I plan on starting more, and I help
Yeah.
people learn how to start their own and understand what crypto is and how it can work for you, and just really what finances are, what an illusion the financial world is, how they can manipulate stocks with internal transactions. But this is largely unknown to us because we're rarely operating from the owner's perspective. So you don't get to see the back office and know
Yeah.
how these transactions are read by a banking computer, and how you can capitalize off of this, even if it was just a coin that you created for yourself, for your family, or for your business internally. You don't have to go viral. You don't have
Yeah.
to go like Sheba. You could just use this as a way to keep your money. Instead of keeping your money in a bank, you're the bank. And just like that,
Yeah.
you've
I
created your.
think
We are mad and we are
I apologize. I'm having the whole show up. I'm sorry. But I wanted to know a little bit more about. I completely. They should let me go. I don't belong here. I'm just joking. But I wanted to show a little bit about. You also have merchandise beyond just um, your work. You have merchandise. You also have a private women's group that you guys travel with. I mean, you're really growing, which is so exciting. And I'm really happy for you. So, and I'll make sure we have all of that information on our website so folks can know how to reach you and support what you do. But tell us a little bit about the how your business is growing, and also you're selling NFTs.
Yes, I do have an NFT store online.
Hmm.
I was doing the NFTs for people to come to my events and also to support local growers. Um, and just again showing people how to not get left behind in this digital
Yeah.
revolution that is happening. How we can't be uh illiterate to Web3 and all of the different dynamics that it possesses. So again, eGreen was created to be a learning tool, so you understand how the blockchain works, how to acquire crypto. And this
Mhm.
NFT is like, I'll give you my NFT for free just so you know how to set up an
Yeah.
account, how to store these in your wallet, where do you even get NFTs from, and how do
Mhm.
you invest in this aspect of the future.
Yeah. Well, we've reached the end of this segment, and we like to end with a question of the day. And so, your question of the day, Jay Mills, is actually, you know what? Let me add you know, my other slide here, and I'm going to go straight to it. Um, Question of the day: is it a good move for Prince Harry to attend King Charles's coronation without his wife, Meghan Markle?
Um, all for one and one for all, I guess. I mean, unless it was her choice to stay home, and in that case, sure. But if it was like a request, like they only invited him, then
Yeah.
no.
They invited them both. She declined because of obviously all the stuff. But do you think it's a good move for him to be like, I gotta go? Is he making a choice? Is he crossing a line? Because like you said, one for all. Like once you have a family, don't you side with your family and you kind of release your other family and say, this is my family now, and she this is what we do. So you think it depends on how she feels about it.
I guess perhaps maybe then it is a bit of a cultural ideal. There are some that feel like, once you get married, this is your family now. And then there are others that would not look kindly upon a spouse that forced
Mhm.
you to choose between them and your family,
Yeah,
that
you're right.
asks you to make that choice and puts that kind of pressure on you. That's a lot right there.
Yeah, that's a lot. Well, there's plenty more to come, I'm sure, with these two. But Jay, thank you so much for joining me. It was such a pleasure to have you. I wish I could talk to you even longer, but all your information will be on ePluribusAmerica.com website so folks can hear you. I also wanted to say you've got some upcoming events. You've got
I do.
420 events coming up, and you'll also be performing the day after that, which I'm really excited and happy for you. So I'll make sure that that is also on our website
Thank you.
for folks to know about and reach out to you if they want to join your 420 pub crawl across DC.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you again. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. This
Any
was
last words for folks out there about the work you do? Anything else you'd like to add before you go?
hashtag pass the J.
Hashtag Pastor J. That's
Yeah,
right. All right. Well, let us know when you have another podcast coming up.
I will. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.